jumping in. Those of you watching on YouTube, Jake Gyllenhaal's still on the loose. He's still on a rampage. And we got to get light seeds. Ooh, there's 14 left there. We were just there, too. Oh, we need 1 power. Okay, we can just go here. We really haven't been here that much to get these ones. There's another red panel. God damn it, I should have went red panels instead. Instead of some of these other ones, because the red panels, they're everywhere, it seems like. Or maybe I'm noticing them more because it's the one I don't have. So he's having trouble with notifications. If mentally disabled people aren't malicious as everybody tells me, only confused, what does count as malicious, and why does society just release all prisoners if nobody? So one, prisoners are malicious. Like, there's a reason they're in prison. You know, excluding people, because there are cases of like people who are innocent and they get thrown in jail even on death row, which is a tragedy, but it happens. But prisoners are malicious. Some of them get locked up for like tax evasion and crazy, like, you know, money crimes like that. But mentally disabled people aren't malicious. Some of them can be as well. A majority of them aren't. But also their reality is, everybody's reality is different from everybody else's. But with somebody who's mentally disabled, they don't have the capacity to really kind of tell the difference, I guess is the word. I don't know, somebody help me out here. Mentally ill can be malicious, depends on the level of capacity. Yeah, exactly. Matt put it well. It depends on their level of capacity. But again, it's all a case by case basis.
Sometimes I surprise myself.
Like Matt and I, you know, Empty Dempsey in the chat, he and I went to high school with a guy. I'm not gonna say his name. He had a mental disability, and his friends weren't the best people, and so his friends would tell him to do stuff and he would do it. And you know, you can't, and you know, they weren't the best things, like messing with teachers, you know, doing X, Y, Z, whatever. And you can't blame him because of the friends he had, you know, because he's just doing what his friends are telling him to do. He's doing it, but if like he had a good set of friends with him, he wouldn't be doing things that weren't, you know, that he wasn't supposed to do, if that makes sense. You know, it's really like, plus you'll know when they're being malicious too. Like, you know, like it's not like it's some like detective tale you have to figure out in order to tell whether or not somebody's being an ass. And then also they get frustrated a lot more easily than regular people. Not regular people. But people they get a lot more frustrated than people who don't have mental disabilities. A lot easier sometimes. They are regular people, they just live differently than us. But yeah, they can be malicious. It just depends on upbringing. I know I've seen like shows where like there's people who like have severe autism and they're just angry all the time, or they have Downs and they just, you know, they have Down syndrome and I guess they have like they have a low temper, which means, you know, they get angry easy, you know, because they're not able to like, they're not able to process it and like, I guess, express themselves correctly in the manner that we would deem acceptable, if that makes sense. depends on one's level of understanding. Like, if they understand people and themselves are separate entities, then that person is being malicious. If they can't understand that they aren't special or that everyone isn't them, then probably being unintentionally being malicious. Yeah. Well, malicious, that implies intent. Like, when you're malicious, that means you intend, there's intent behind it, you know? That's the thing. It's not, you know, it's a is it malicious or is it not question. That's all it is. Because, you know, I've worked with special, you know, I've said special education. It's too early for me to be talking about this, but I've worked with people with mental disabilities. You know, I've had to take care of them, you know, and there are challenges, but all it is patience too, you know. I might go in there into a patient's room, say, hey, I need some blood. They say no. They're caretakers, parents, or guardians. They try to talk them into it, and they, you know, the patient still says no, so they still have patient rights they can deny. But guess what? You know, I just go out, I go to the fridge, I grab a popsicle, and I say, hey, you know, you can have this popsicle if you let me take some blood. You know, they don't, you know, it's just kind of like, you know, they're all individuals. That's what it is. And, you know, and we don't excuse it when they do the wrong actions. That's not the answer. Like, if somebody has a mental disability, you know, you don't let them do bad things, or what we would tell them are bad. We don't let them do it without, you know, reprimand, you know. But at the same time, it's hard to understand what their mental capacity is to understand that the difference between right and wrong most times. Like, they probably understand the easy rights and wrongs. Like, oh, hey, don't hurt people. Don't, you know, don't do this, don't do that. You know, that's easy for them to understand that part. But, you know, there's probably a lot of nuance that they just don't understand, or they might not be able to be capable to understand. You know, I'm thinking like worst case. I'm thinking like, you know, worst case has no ability to kind of tell, you know, right from wrong. You know, I'm thinking of somebody who really cannot not think that well. That's not the word that's used, but more or less to make those decisions and make those inferences. Let's see here. How long-term is case by case, but if you are able to long-term think, then in the eyes of most countries and laws, you have the ability to not commit crime. How long is long-term? I mean, if we're talking about people with mental disabilities, you know, nobody knows what goes on through their head. You know, nobody does. I mean, nobody knows what, you can't walk down the street and know what everybody else is thinking. Why am I getting more light seeds? We don't need any more. Last power. How long-term is case by case? I mean, it really is case by case.
I think we have enough light seeds now.
Let me think.
Another power.
I could have sworn I had a patient was like something similar. But you can't just broad brush stroke, you know, anybody for anything. You know, everybody's their own individual. The second you start doing brush strokes on people is when you're just wrong all the time. You know, the second you say like, oh, you know, the mental, you know, the patients on this floor are all X, well, you're wrong, because there's going to be at least one that's not that. You know, or all the people who live on this street do X. Well, you're wrong, you know, because not all of them do. So, you know, things have to be case by case, or else you're just being disingenuous for your own benefit. Okay, last power. You know, we might be able to finish it today. God damn, my toe hurts.
Father, no!
No, we gotta kick his ass again.
Father, it's Ahriman. You must fight him.
Let's kill this motherfucker. I don't think I can use Elika here, right? Maybe I can? Yeah, okay, I can, sweet. Oh shit, okay. Yeah, he's turning. Oh yeah, keep doing that move, dude. That's working out great for you. But yeah, back to what I was saying. It's all case by case. Because the second you start using blanket statements, all it takes is one thing out of that box to prove you wrong. That's all it is.
Maybe as we heal the lands, your father will recover.
You don't believe that?
No, I don't.
Well, he was just brutally honest there. No, that's not where I want to go. I want to go here. Fast travel there. Because there's always an exception to the case. Especially with people. You don't want to apply blanket statements to people. Unless you really like being wrong. Okay. I mean, we probably don't need light gems anymore for anything, huh? Light seeds, whatever. To the right. Okay, drop down. But yeah, I cannot work with a bunch of mentally disabled patients, cause like I don't have the not that I don't have the tolerance, it would drain me too quickly, I feel.
Stay close.
Hold your strength.
I mean, have I worked with mentally disabled people? Yep. I've had to take care of them. Typically their families with them, you know, in my experience, and, you know, in a hospital setting in the ICU, they're typically, their family is with them, you know, because the family knows, like, in a hospital setting's scary regardless. Come on.
Take it easy.
Okay, I know. This is like the 5th time I've had to fight something with that. But have you ever worked with mentally disabled but not been able to see a disability, just maliciousness? I think like you might, like from what I'm hearing from you, Renegade, for the past couple streams, like you must have somebody who you either think has it out for you or somebody who definitely just has it out for you. It's one of those two. They either might have it out for you and they don't, and you just think they do, or they really just have it out for you.
It looks quiet.
Don't say it's quiet. Don't ever say it's quiet.
Some people feign mental illness and are just malicious pieces of shit. I mean, I'm thinking of like when I say mental disability, I'm thinking people who are
Never say it's quiet.
any spectrum, or like, you know, low functioning autism, Down syndrome, severely developmentally delayed, used to be called mental retardation, you know, like that severity, like that's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking like, you know, like high functioning autism, high functioning Down syndrome. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, you know, those who are severe, like you can tell. Because when I hear mentally disabled, that's what I hear. Come on, Jesus Christ. I think the game wants me to probably melee, or not melee him, use Etika as much as I can. Maybe if I can get him against the wall. Let's see. Most mentally ill aren't violent or criminal unless provoked. You're right. Well, the thing is that they can be stressed. Like their stress tolerance for some of them is extremely low. God damn it! What's his name? The Warrior, I think. I think he's named the Warrior. Okay, he has a second stage up there. Okay.
Where we're going?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still provocation. You're not
Why
wrong.
do we always have to go towards the bad guys?
You're not wrong. But I don't know, like to me it's interesting to work with them because it's such a variability, and you know, you have to kind of not be like, you have to be careful with everybody, but you know, with them they can really, I don't know, their perception of reality cannot be the same as yours or mine, or it might be the same as yours and mine. They might have trouble expressing it. You know, there's so much variability, you know, like I said, you can't make blanket statements.
Not so fun.
Well, one in the medical field, like we don't use the words mental retardation anymore. We're a lot more specific. Autism, I mean, no, I'm not gonna go there. Let's see. When both are very different from each other, and they are. There's people who are on the autism spectrum their entire lives and don't know it. That's really it. They're there and they don't know, and it's fine that they don't know. They wouldn't have ever known unless they got some test. Oh my God, we have to, okay. So I say, damn, we have to go all the way the fuck back. Get me across. Let's finish this fight. Hey, this dude's gonna be a bitch
I don't think he's happy to see us.
to fucking.
Time to go back.
Come on, can we get an insta kill? No. Push his ass off the edge, please. Yes, thank fucking Christ. I think some of the people who are diagnosed with autism aren't really autistic, just delayed from bad parenting or less. I don't know about that.
And you're an ugly mother too.
I don't care enough to look into it also. My work police, I see some participants, disabled persons, who I think is sweet and innocent that other staff are very firm with. Then others that seem smart and malicious that other staff ignore all their behavior and downplay. I don't get it. What might be the reason? I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to deal with it. That might be it. Oh, shit. They might just not want to deal with it. That's also like a thing you gotta consider, is like people, everybody's lazy one way or another.
Arrest.
And so if they see one of their clients or participants, you know, not doing the thing they're not supposed, like it's like when cops, like if you go to a festival and there's like a police officer walking around and you like pull out a bottle of alcohol that you're not supposed to have, you know, they'll ask you like, hey, do you want to give up this bottle of liquor or do you want to go to jail? Because they don't want to do all the paperwork. They'll just take the bottle of liquor, pour it out and throw it away. You know, when they're supposed to, charge you with that. Like, people are lazy. Apply that to every job. Apply that to every job. Apply that to every job in existence, and you'll see why wherever you worked or have worked in the past, why some things just didn't work 100% the way they were supposed to, or... Sorry, which way do we even go here? Okay. Just people are lazy. I mean, like shit, even in the ICU, like we'd get medics from the ER that come up and help every now and then. And like, they were lazy. They'd be on their phone all the time instead of like doing rounds on patients. You know, like it's just one of those things, like people are lazy. Or they don't want to deal with it. Like, like I was talking about patients falling out of bed or falling in the floor the other day. Like me, I have integrity, so I'll chart that. Like, I charted that shit all the time. Not all the time, but whenever we had a fall, I would always chart it. But how many people never charted a patient fall because they just ignored it, Or, patients said that their tummy hurts, Instead of charting that, I would, a bad nurse would just not chart it and do nothing, but a good nurse would go through the trouble of charting it, telling the doctor, and requesting some kind of stomach med, Which all the nurses I worked with, they were all great. So like, I'm sure they exist out there somewhere in the ether, a lazy nurse, but I haven't met one yet. Maybe, I don't know. Can you think of a different possible reason? That's really it. Like, they don't want to deal with it. If I have somebody I'm taking care of, and they know the rules, that's the important part. They know the rules. So yeah. Okay, hold on. After this little section, because I have the perfect way to state this. So if I have, and like you have a pedicure and your guy's going to hate me. So if I'm working in a facility with a bunch of people with mental disabilities, severe autism, Down syndrome, whatever specific developmental delay they have, and they are absolutely refusing to follow the rules, or they're being malicious, okay? Is it their fault that they are doing that? Or is it my fault for not enforcing the rules, reminding them, reprimanding them when they do bad things, and not rewarding them when they do the right thing? And whose fault is it? I could not be doing 4 things. I could not be trying to figure out this person who is living a life they didn't ask for. I'm not taking my time to figure out what the fuck's going on and fixing it. That's my fault. It's not theirs. If they're being malicious, there's a reason why. People just aren't naturally mean. They have a reason. So if I'm not doing any of those 4 things, or if I'm doing one of them and I'm not trying the other 2, or if I'm only doing like 3 of them but not the last one, it's most likely my fault. I'm just too lazy to put in the extra effort. And if that's the way it is, then maybe, and if you do try all those things, then maybe you got to find something else to try, or let a provider know, or something. There's no reason for them to be malicious. Now, I mean, I've had cases, not with people with mental disabilities, but I've had cases with patients where they fucking hated male nurses. They treated us like shit. They only wanted females. Why? They have something to look at all day, and that's just reality. And that's all it is. Sometimes they have preferences, And, you know, whether or not they share those preferences is not up to me.
Behind those gears up there.
Okay, God. This is not... The last puzzle we had took me literally like 45 minutes to do.
There. The gear moved. This is just going to take a little patience.
Okay, so that one... Looks like the circle on the left is locked in place. What do we want to do here, though? It doesn't really... Come on, Ellico, let's go. I don't know why the game needs both of us to do this, but whatever. What the fuck?
Give me a hand here.
Why? Why is it doing this? Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what the game is asking me to do. But I mean, that's really the reason. It's either laziness or... What the fuck?
I'm ready.
Am I supposed to... Hold on. Actually, let me see something really quick. Where am I going to land if I use this? Okay, I pressed the button. I don't know what the deal is. Nope, that's not what I wanted. You could also say I have a soft spot for people with mental disabilities too. You could also say that. You wouldn't be wrong. Okay, what is the...
Okay, turn it.
Um...
Give me a hand here.
We don't want that. Wait, yeah, we do. That's the one we want. That's the one we want. We do that twice, and then we do the big rotation. This is the one we want. Come on. That's definitely something I'm not a fan of, having to fucking wait for Ellica to come help. Okay, then we turn this one to the big red arrow. No, wrong one, wrong one, wrong one.
Okay, I'm ready.
Then we turn this once, and that should be good for this puzzle. God, the last water puzzle we were on was a fucking monster. I had to look up a guide because I had the wrong solution planned in my head.
Let's get up there.
But I mean, Renegade, if you wanted to, you could probably throw me into the category of people who would kind of let them slip by with more than what they should, because that's just me. Oh no. I pressed the button, but okay. For those of you watching live on Twitch right now, it's greatly appreciated that you are here this very early Wednesday morning hanging out.